Thank you. You testified a few minutes ago, I'm not able to invoke executive privilege. That's up to the president. Has the president invoked executive privilege in the case of your testimony here today?
He has not.
Then what is the basis of your refusal to answer these questions?
Senator King, the president has a constitutional...
I understand that, but the president hasn't asserted it.
Well,
you said you don't have the power to assert the power of executive privilege, so what is the legal basis for your refusal to answer these questions?
I am protecting the right of the president to assert it if he chooses, and there may be other privileges that could apply in this circumstance.
Well, I don't understand how you can have it both ways. The president can't not assert it, and you've testified that only the president can assert it, and yet I just don't understand the legal basis for your refusal to answer.
What we try to do, I think most cabinet officials, others that you questioned recently, officials before the committee, protect the president's right to do so. If it comes to a point where the issue is clear and there's a dispute about it, at some point the president will either assert the privilege or not, or some other privilege would be asserted. But at this point, I believe it's premature for
You're
me
asserting
to
a privilege to the president. You've testified.
It'd be premature for me to deny the president a full and intelligent choice about executive privilege. That's not necessary at this point.
You testified a few minutes ago that, quote, we were asked for our opinion. Who asked for your opinion?
You mean
you testified we were asked for our opinion.
My understanding is, I believe I'm correct in saying the president has said so.
So he didn't ask you directly?
I thought you were asking about the privilege. So
no, I'm
you
sorry.
Want to go back to
I'm saying, you said, quote, we were asked for our opinion, you and Mr. Rosenstein.
I believe that was appropriate for me to say that because I think the president...
No, I'm just asking you, who asked you for your opinion? Who asked you for your opinion?
Right. The president asked for our opinion.
All right, so you just testified as to the content of a communication to the president.
That is correct, but I believe he's already revealed that. I believe I'm correct in saying that. That's why I indicated that when I answered that question. But if he hasn't, and I'm in error,
so
I would have constricted his constitutional right of privilege.
So you're correct. You're being selective about the use.
No, I'm not intentionally. I'm doing so only because I believe he made that.
In any of your discussions with the president about the firing of James Comey, did the question of the Russian investigation ever come up?
I cannot answer that because it was a communication by the president, or if any such occurred, it would be a communication that he has not waived.
But he has not asserted the executive privilege.
He has not asserted executive privilege.
Do you believe the Russians interfered with the 2016 elections?
It appears so. The intelligence community seems to be united in that. But I have to tell you, Senator King, I know nothing but what I've read in the paper. I've never received any detailed briefing on how hacking occurred or how information was alleged to have influenced the campaign.
Between the election, there was a memorandum from the intelligence community on October 9th that detailed what the Russians were doing after the election, before the inauguration. You never sought any information about this rather dramatic attack on our country?
No.
You never asked for a briefing or attended a briefing or read the intelligence reports?
You might have been very critical of me if I, as an active part of the campaign, was seeking intelligence relating to something that might be relevant to the campaign. I'm not sure that.
I'm not talking about the campaign. I'm talking about what the Russians did. You received no briefing on the Russian active measures in connection with the 2016 election?
No, I don't.
So, as you can see, Attorney General Jeff Sessions is being assaulted by these innuendo type questions and these gotcha questions that they're trying to get Mr. Sessions to admit a part of a conversation or to talk about a conversation that he had with President Trump. And they are saying that President Trump is invoking an executive privilege by Mr. Sessions not talking about it. And Mr. Sessions has already said at least 4 times that he is not willing to violate the president's right to privacy in a conversation, and that it is a long-standing rule. And he even said that he believes those rules are written in the Department of Justice, that conversations with the president or the White House are not discussed in an open setting without the prior consent of the president. And these congressmen are calling that an executive privilege, but it is not an executive privilege, because the president has a right to privacy. Mr. Sessions is giving him that right to privacy. Mr. Sessions is not violating the privacy policy that goes with the Department of Justice. That means it is inappropriate to discuss a conversation that happens between the president or any person within the White House without prior approval. You understand what I'm saying? So these congressmen continue with these gotcha type questions, and Senator Sessions, Attorney General Sessions continues to body slam these congressmen down to the floor with truth and facts, and they're completely stunned. I didn't get it on film earlier, but Senator Feinstein was the first one to question him in that manner, and she was completely stunned and taken back when Attorney General Sessions stated, "I am unable to answer those questions at this time because of the privacy policy that the Department of Justice has." So see, these congressmen and these congresswomen are offended by the fact that Sessions wants to follow the rules that apply to the Department of Justice. Sessions wants to continue to hold his integrity in place in the face of these gotcha type questions, where they're continuing to push him forward into trying to violate some rules and policies that have been in place for a long time. These congressmen and these congresswomen know damn well what these policies are. Feinstein has been in Congress for decades. She knows these things. So I think it's a hypocritical deal, because you know what? In the very beginning, the chair, Mr. Wyndham, stated that the rules apply. The congressmen and congresswomen are asked to refrain from asking questions that would require release of confidential material or private material. They were stated that. Those were the rules. The chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee stated that. So for these congressmen and congressmen to continue these lines of questioning and stating that he is obstructing justice when he is not, is ridiculous and hypocritical. I hope you enjoyed this report. I just have to shed light on how these congressmen and congresswomen act, and how they're trying to bait somebody into answering something that is inappropriate and wrong to answer. So my name is Johnny Jetrod, reporting for you for Populist News. Thank you, America.